but prospects for the legislation in the Senate are weak, given the slim Republican majority and concern over the potential for further blowing up the deficit with a new tax cut without corresponding new revenue sources. And even some House Republicans oppose a new tax bill. Startup businesses would be permitted to write off more of their initial costs. This legislation is our commitment to the American worker to ensure our tax code remains the most competitive in the world, Brady said in a statement. Making the tax cuts permanent would build on the tax law's economic boost by adding 1.5 million new jobs and increasing wages, he said. As the elections loom, polls are showing only lukewarm support among voters for the $1.5 trillion package of individual and corporate tax cuts that President Donald Trump signed into law in December as his signature legislative achievement. Several Republican House members, facing tough re-election fights in high-tax, Democratic-leaning states like New York and New Jersey, voted against the tax legislation last year and would prefer to do without this new version as well. The tax law that took effect January 1, the most sweeping rewrite of the U.S. tax code in 3 decades, is estimated to add around $1.5 trillion to the ballooning deficit over 10 years. Deficit hawks as well as Democratic lawmakers who were unanimous in opposing the tax legislation last year are asking how the Republicans intend to pay for the extended tax cuts. After handing massive unpaid-for tax breaks to Big Pharma, Wall Street and the wealthiest 1% with the first GOP tax scam for the rich, House Republicans are here with more of the same, House Democratic leader Nancy Pelosi said Monday. Republicans want to add even more to the deficit, and even more to the bank accounts of the wealthiest 1%. The new tax law enacted in December provides steep tax cuts for corporations and the wealthiest Americans, and more modest reductions for middle and low-income individuals and families. While the law slashed the corporate tax rate permanently from 35% to 21%, its tax cuts for individuals and the millions of U.S. pass-through businesses expire in 8 years. The pass-through businesses funnel their income to owners and other individuals, who then pay personal income tax on those earnings, not the corporate rate. They are allowed under the new law to deduct 20% of the first $315,000 of their earnings. Early this year, millions of working Americans got a boost from the tax law as they saw increases in their paychecks with less tax withheld by employers. But as Trump's populist attacks against free trade have erupted into trade wars with China and U.S. allies, trade tensions have overshadowed the tax cuts in economically vulnerable areas of the country that depend on exports.